everyone, this is a review of the DJI Air 2S drone. I've had it for several months now, so the review was not done hastily. And as in any of my reviews, I will honestly talk about the upsides as well as the downsides. So who is this drone for? DJI is the leader in the production of drones. I choose the drones of this brand and I recommend it to everyone. In this table, I have collected the main characteristics of three models: the Mini 2, the Air 2S, which we are reviewing today, and the Mavic 3 Cine. I recommend the Mini 2 drone to all novice drone pilots. It's super compact, lightweight, and does not require registration in many countries. The Air 2S, which we are reviewing today, will be a good option for those who shoot professional videos for YouTube. The more advanced models are for those who shoot music videos, commercials, and movies. Breaking news: a new model has just been released. It's the DJI Mini 3. In my opinion, it's becoming a serious competitor to the Air 2S. It has a slightly worse camera, but the shooting modes are the same. It can fly longer, and it is cheaper than the Air 2S. By the time this video is released, it's probably going to be available for purchase, so check it out. When I was evaluating the Air 2S, I compared it to my previous drone, the Mavic Air, which was released 3 years before the Air 2S. It's a much earlier model. All the goods and bads that I will talk about now come from comparing this model with the Mavic Air drone. Let's start with the upsides and talk about the downsides later. As soon as I launched this drone, I was delighted to hear what a pleasant noise it made. Can't compare it in volume to the previous drone, but the noise is less shrill, less annoying, and less attention-grabbing, which is important when there are people around. Hearing the motors of this drone is a special kind of pleasure. I recorded it on camera and I invite you to listen to it. And by the way, the DJI Mini 2 produces even less noise, thus attracting even less attention. Control reliability. You can't really measure this parameter. I feel more in control when I fly the Air 2S. It is more responsive and stable. Of course, my previous drone, the Mavic Air, was also responsive on the sticks. However, the Air 2S is more controllable in my opinion. This is due to the fact that it is twice as heavy. It has a wider propeller span, there are probably some software improvements and maybe some special settings for the smoothness of the sticks. With my previous drone, I had to go through the Compas calibration procedure before every flight. This is what the drone needed to take off. You need to take the drone in your hands, do a 360 and so on. It's a pretty funny but time-consuming process, and sometimes you have to take off quickly, otherwise you will lose your shot. The Air 2S required calibration the very first time, and then I don't remember. Maybe it happened occasionally, but not every time. Flight range and signal quality. Sometimes you need to shoot some distant objects or fly quite far. I lost signal to the previous drone as soon as it was about 600 meters away. It stayed responsive even at greater distances, but there was no video signal coming from the camera. Therefore, I didn't fly farther than 600 or 700 meters. The Air 2S, for me in this regard, is just a breakthrough. With it, I flew 3.5 kilometers at the height of 500 meters. There was no message that the signal was weak. I could have flown even farther. This is a warning for novice drone pilots. Long-distance flights can only be done in rural areas. There are many sources of radio signals in the city. Flying far in the city, you risk losing your drone. In general, comply with the laws of the place where you're flying. The more incidents we, as drone owners, cause, the stricter the rules will become. With the Air 2S, you get 31 minutes of flight time. In reality, of course, it's 5 minutes less because normally no one flies to 0% battery. But compared to 21 minutes on the Mavic Air, 31 minutes is a lot. You have time to shoot more material and you have more confidence that the drone will have enough charge to return. Personally, I don't rely on sensors. If I'm flying among objects, then I keep the drone in sight and control the flight. But the fact that the drone has sensors, of course, is very cool. The Air 2S model has sensors on all sides except the left side and the right side. Therefore, when flying sideways, you need to be as careful as possible. The Air 2S has 3 flight modes, which are switched on the controller. Cine is a smooth, slow flight mode. Normal mode is usual. And in sport mode, the drone develops maximum speed while its sensors do not work. So if you're flying into an obstacle, then the drone will not stop by itself. When I used my previous drone in sport mode, its camera tilted from the airflow and shooting was often impossible. I haven't come across such a problem with the Air 2S. Intelligent modes, in which the drone controls the flight by itself, are divided into 3 groups: MasterShots, Tracking Modes, and QuickShots. MasterShots is a genius feature. On the screen of your phone, you select the object that the drone sees, press one button, and in 2 or 3 minutes the drone takes a whole set of frames of this object. It flies closer to the object and farther from it, makes a full circle around it, etc. Use this function and during editing you will have additional options and frames to choose from. To activate one of the tracking modes, just select your object on the phone screen and choose the mode that you need. In Spotlight mode, the aircraft always keeps the specified object in the center of the frame, and it turns when the object moves. If you do not interfere, then the drone will stay put. But you can also move around the object, approach it, or move away from it, as well as change the height. The drone camera will always be directed at the object. In Active Track mode, the drone follows the object either from behind or from the side when the parallel Active Track shooting mode is selected. POI, or Point of Interest. In this mode, the drone orbits the selected object. With the Air 2S, capturing such a shot is much easier compared to my previous drone. You simply select an object on the screen, press the POI button, and choose the direction of the drone's rotation. QuickShots. These are the standard modes for DJI drones: Boomerang, Helix, Droney, Rocket, and Asteroid. You choose the mode, select an object on the screen, and the drone does all the flying and the shooting by itself. The Air 2S can shoot videos in 5.4K. In my opinion, for YouTube, this quality is redundant. But for custom work, this could be important. Let's compare 5K and 4K. I'll enlarge the image so you can see the difference. You can shoot at frame rates up to 60 frames per second in 4K. And the Air 2S can shoot videos at a frame rate of 120 frames per second in Full HD resolution. The Air 2S can shoot in a standard color profile, and it can also shoot in a flat D-Log color profile. If you're doing color grading, this gives you more control over the image. Let's talk about the downsides. When using an intelligent mode, you cannot shoot in the D-Log profile. You can do it only in the standard color profile. So if you shoot the main frames in the D-Log profile and you want to use one of the intelligent modes, and additional work will have to be done during editing to ensure that the videos are in the same style. And the worst thing is that in the MasterShots and QuickShots modes, I couldn't change the frame rate. I didn't find such an option in the application, nor did I find any information in the user manual or on YouTube. And for me, it's just a fail. The frame rate in these modes is set to 30 frames per second. If I shoot the main video at a different frame rate, then there will be a strobe in the video when using MasterShots or QuickShots. To get rid of the strobe in a 24 or 25 FPS video, you have to use slow motion, which may be completely unneeded in the video. I hope that this option is actually available and it's buried somewhere deep in the settings, or maybe the software will be updated and the flaw will be fixed. I purchased the Air 2S combo, which includes extra propellers, batteries, a carrying bag, and ND filters. If you buy this drone, then I recommend that you also buy a combo kit. ND filters and extra batteries are a must, but it doesn't come with a case for the drone itself. There's just a carrying bag. If I go to shoot, then in addition to the drone, I have some equipment and other things for which I will need a bag. So you need a bag or a backpack for all the things plus the drone. And here's when you really need a case for the drone. The propellers of the drone are not fixed. In the bag, it may not lie tightly, and I would like it to be protected. The Mavic Air had a great case for transporting and storing the drone. I want the same thing for the Air 2S, but it's absent. And for me, this is a terrible disappointment. The controller is larger than that of the Mavic Air. It is more convenient to use it. The phone is placed above the sticks, unlike it used to be. All new DJI models have such controllers now. I hope someday they will become smaller in size, but will still be convenient to use. What came as a complete surprise to me was that in the MasterShots filming mode, the props got into the frame. It turns out that this is not really a defect, not a flaw. When flying in the MasterShots filming mode, the aircraft positions itself so that the sensors can detect an obstacle that may be in the way. You can switch this option from obstacle avoidance to composition in the application settings, and then the propellers will not get caught in the frame. But when flying in the MasterShots filming mode, you need to visually control the drone so that you could stop it from crashing into an obstacle. When I was preparing for this video, I did something that I never do. I read the user manual, and I actually learned a bunch of useful things. I advise you to do this too. I will give you only one example of a useful thing that I learned. You probably know that in order to command your drone to return home, you set the return height. Height must not be higher than the surrounding trees or buildings, but at the same time, it must not be excessively high in order not to waste an extra charge. It turns out that the DJI Air 2S does not always return home at the height you specified. If it is closer than 50 meters from the home point, then it returns without changing the height. If it is farther than 50 meters and is at a height that is higher than the one you specified, then it also does not descend but flies to the home point at the same height as it was. But if it is farther than 50 meters and below the height point you specified, only in this case does it rise to the indicated height and fly home. That's all about the DJI Air 2S drone. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Bye.